Welcome back for another video. Today we're going to talk about the data model and how to extend your experience. I know it sounds complicated, but actually it's fairly simple, so bear with me. Basically, routine has been designed for you to manipulate entities such as tasks, pages, notes, contacts, and calendar and events. That's how you start your experience with routine, as you can see with the agenda, calendar, etc. But obviously, everybody is different. And so some people would like to use routine for tracking other things, maybe customers or books to read or movies to watch or whatever. And that's for the personal experience. The team experience is the same. You might want to track customers, candidates, projects, and more. And so we design routine for it to be simple to start with, but also very extensible to adapt to your own workflow. And so the way it works is that if you go to settings and you pick your organization, either personal or your team, you will be able to go to types to visualize all the kind of entities, so type of data that you manipulate. And as you can see, some are default, which is they come kind of pre-packaged with the app. So again, calendar, event, page, person, task. And others you can create yourself. So let's take an example. Let's say I'm a freelancer and I would like to track my customers directly within routine. So I could create a new type, let's say customer. I could pick an icon if I want to, and I can define the properties, which is what is defining a customer. And obviously, a customer might be something very different from one person to the next. So that's why we let you define. So let's say that you want a customer to be a title, some notes, and maybe a status to say, is this person or this customer just discussing, maybe negotiating, signing, and close, maybe something like this. But again, that's really up to you. You create the type, and from that point, you can visualize by navigating to the database all of your customers. Obviously, at first, you've got none. You can create a new customer here with the plus button. Let's say customer A, but you could also create customers or actually any type of object through the big plus button here. As you can see, you can even search customer, create one here. But you could also, and that's very important on desktop, so on macOS, Windows, and Linux, you can create through the dashboard. Remember, the dashboard is the keyboard shortcuts that brings the console here to type something quickly and capture. That's really a key experience in routine. But so far, you've used it for creating tasks, such as do laundry, enter, that creates a task, which ends up in the inbox. Now, the beauty is that you can use the same mechanism to actually create any type of entity in routine. So let's say you want to create customer B. You could use the as keyword to signify which type of data you want to create, being a movie, a customer, a project, etc. So in our case, it is a customer. So if I do this and I press enter, that's it, I've got a new customer. The beauty is that you could be working on something pops into your mind, or maybe you stumble upon a potential customer on LinkedIn, just open the dashboard, type as customer, and that's it. You've created something for later, and you will be able to triage, organize, and enrich with more information later when you are good and ready. Obviously, every entity can be open so that you can set maybe the status, let's say discussing, and that's it. Now, you can see that in the database view, you can already control such things like the filtering, the sorting, the grouping, etc., so that you can visualize the way you want. But usually what you want is to create some kind of pre-packaged visualization for a specific purpose. So let's give it a try with some notes. I'm going to remove those just for the purpose of this demonstration, and I'm going to open it full screen to make it cleaner. So whenever you have notes, you can create a visualization. And because in routine, tasks, events, pages, contacts, but also any object that you create can have notes. You can basically create visualization anywhere. So let's say I'm going to create a visualization of my customers. I can do that. I can even make it wide so that I can see more. And then I can start saying, okay, I want to see all the customers that I'm currently discussing with. I could do this with a filter, or I could say I want to group by the status so that I can see which one is in which stage. And I could actually even see it as a board so that I'm seeing exactly where the different customers are in the pipeline. So great for tracking where they are. So basically, you can visualize the way you want the data that you want. Likewise, you can visualize the default object, which are, again, tasks, pages, events, calendar, etc. So to give you an example, you could say, I want to visualize my calendars. And as you can see, those are my calendars. And same thing, you can apply the same thing, filtering, grouping, sorting, layout, etc. And so it's really always the same. Now, let's take it another level. I've created my database of customers. What if I wanted to create a link between a default entity, such as maybe events or tasks, and my new entity, which is customer? So you could go to settings, then to the type, and you could create a relation. So let's say I would like to be able to say this event is I'm actually discussing with a potential customer. So I'm creating a link between events and my new customer. So I'm going to edit the type. I'm going to create a relation, which is a link between types. And then I'm going to say customer. Then you pick the database of customer, which is here, and you mark it as done, you save, and that's it. Now, what does that mean? It means that from that point on, whenever you have an event, which is here, if you open it, as you can see here, or in the calendar screen, you could actually very easily say, I want to define that this event is actually linked to customer A. Likewise, you could say this one is also linked to customer A. This way, you could visualize data in a visualization, as I showed you before, to say, I want to see all the events where the customer is customer A. And that lists you all the events related to that customer. And that's the power of linking information, being the default entities and the new custom entities that you create. You create a web, like a brain of a link between the different entities that give meaning to your information. And that is very important so that you can better leverage and visualize and create workflows on top yourself, but also through AI if that's what you want to do. Now, I've given you an example with default types and a customer type inside your personal organization. Remember, this is for your personal life. But the same is exactly true for your team organization. So in this instance, that's my team organization. And I've got multiple workspaces. And if I go to types, I will see the type in each workspace. Remember, this is very important, is that the types live in a workspace, not in the whole organization, which means that a page in one workspace for a specific team might mean something different than a page for another team. That's why we distinguish them. So let's pick an example. Let's say I'm going to pick the default workspace. I'm going to take the page type, and I'm going to say I want to give it a bit more meaning. Let's say I would like to be able to know if a page has been reviewed by someone in the team so that the data doesn't go kind of out of date. Now, it is constantly being validated, verified by someone in the team. So you could say, I'm going to add a select, let's say a status, and I'm going to say I've got a few options such as live, verified, and maybe archived, something like this. You do this, you save, and then from that point on, again, you could say, I want to see maybe the database of all of my pages. I've got a few ones that I had created. The home is here, which is the same as here. And you could say, actually, I want to create a new page, which is maybe the tracking or verified, whatever it's called. This page, in it, I'm going to do a view, which is this one. Let's say this page is live, and I'm going to say I want to see all the pages. You can see all the pages, and you can set some as maybe verified and some are archived or whatever. And then you could say, okay, I want now to filter to see only the pages that need to be verified, which is basically those are not verified. And you can apply this. This way you know which ones you might want to verify. And that's how you can create a workflow for someone to check from time to time, or even, again, leverage AI so that the AI maybe every week or every month checks this database and does something which is notify someone who's the owner of the page, which is another property you could actually set, or whatever you want to even automate the verification of the content through AI if you want to. Long story short, you have the keys to create that data model so that it is really powerful for you, being personal life or your team, two different things, but the same mechanisms.